students. I hope you are all doing good and I hope that you have remembered, and we are back to our virtual learning classes, that is through videos, and as per requested by many students, and for also those students who couldn't attend, this video is for them so that they can watch and so that they don't feel extended from this Google Meet classes. So I have made a videos, and as you know that we have started a chapter wind, storm and cyclone, and we have seen that what is wind. First we have to know wind, storm and cyclone, and these are all which, what is the main component of this? The main component is air, and we know the characteristics of air, that air exert pressures. Warmer air is lighter than a colder air, and these are all we know, that warmer air always rises up. So this is all we know, that is a few characteristics. Now comes to the main part of this chapter, that is a main backbone. Air is a backbone, but main part that we're going to learn in this chapter is about wind, storm and cyclone. So comes to this main part. First we have to know what is wind. See, we know that wind is a what? Moving air. Moving air is called a wind. Wind is the movement of air. Wind is what? Wind is the movement of air. মানে যেটা হাওয়া বইছে, দেখো হাওয়া বইছে কি সুন্দর, এটা like we say whenever you will see that pleasant, not that মানে একবার ঝড়. Wind is not ঝড়, it is a storm. When it is a ঝড়, then we call it a storm. But whom should we call it? Wind which make us feel pleasant, the movement of air which feel us pleasant. Like you will see that in a summer season, whenever at evening the wind blows, and whenever this wind blows, then you will feel pleasant. The cold air when flows, you will feel pleasant. That is called a wind. That is called a wind. But here is another question. That question is that why air moves? Why there is a need to flow of air? Why there is need to flow of air? Why air should move? That is the biggest question. Why air should flow? Now tell me, just think, when water flow, you will see that water is flowing. But when water flow? When there is a difference in levels, right? Whenever there is a slight slanting, if there is a slight slanting also, the water will move, the water will flow. Similarly, that means difference in height. Whenever there is a difference in height, water flows. Whenever there is a difference in height, water flows. Similarly, when there is a difference, then the air also flow. But difference of what? The question is difference of what? Difference of pressure. Whenever there is a difference of pressure in two regions, the air will always flow. Suppose see, in our surrounding, in our environment, there is always we know that they have a standard pressure. The environment always maintain. Remember, the environment always maintain a standard atmospheric pressure, and that standard atmospheric pressure is what? The standard atmospheric pressure is 1 atm. But whenever there is a disbalance of this pressure, then this wind started to blow. For example, let's understand this, okay? See, whenever suppose there is a two region, one is over here, another is over here. Suppose, due to some reason, that you will see two region, one first region and second region. Suppose here it is a air, and suppose here also air is present, and we know greater the amount of air, greater is the pressure. Remember, whenever there is a greater the amount of air, greater is the pressure. Means pressure depends on what? Pressure depends on, we know, we have discussed in the class that pressure depends on what? Depends on the amount of air, amount of gases. Pressure always existed by gases only, and greater the gases, greater the pressure. And that is the same thing that I have written, greater the amount of air, greater is the pressure. Now see over here, that suppose there is a two region. Here it is you will see that here maximum air is present. You can see here maximum amount of gas molecules or air molecules, air particles are present, and here you can see that only less amount of pressure is present. Now you can see, you can assume, you can make a idea, you can have an idea that the pressure over here will be less than the pressure over here. Now you see, that means suppose the pressure over here is P1 and the pressure over here is a P2. Pressure over here, the pressure over here is very less and the pressure over here is very high, because as you can see, the number of particles is very high. Now let's see. So the difference of pressure will be, the difference of pressure will be P2 minus P1. P2 minus P1. So whenever there is, and this amount will not be equal to 0. This amount will not be equal to 0 because we know the pressure is very less and the pressure is very high. So if you find the difference of these two pressure, the pressure difference will not be equal to 0. So since there is a pressure difference, so in this case the air will start to move to equalize the pressure. Why the air will move? To equalize the pressure in two regions. That means whatever pressure it is having here or whatever pressure it is having here, it should be equal. It should be equal. So air will start to move until and unless. Air will start to move until and unless the pressure of these two regions becomes equal. Okay, let's write. So as you have what I told you the pressure. So air will start to move. Air will start to move until and unless the pressure of two regions becomes equal. So air will start to move. Until and unless the pressure of two regions become equal. Two regions become equal. That means until and unless P1 become equal to P2. So whenever there is a pressure difference means whenever there is a P1 minus P2 is not equal to 0, air will move. Air will move. That is, this is a yes sign, this is a minus sign, but it depends. Whenever the P2 becomes larger, it will come P2 minus P1. So you can write in either way, that P2 minus P1 or P1 minus P2. So in that case I put this sign. This is some mathematical signification. So as you can see that the pressure, due to the pressure difference, the air moves. But one more question is there, that air will move from which region to which region? That is also one question. I have understood that there will be a movement of air. But is there any particular direction? Is this movement of air have a particular direction? Yes, it has a particular direction. It has this movement of air. Okay, let's write this movement of air has a particular direction. Now question is, which direction? When from which region to which region will move? Now think about it. Water flows from which region to which region? How water flows? We know whenever there is a difference in height, the water will flow. Slanting will lead to the flow of water. But where? From which? From higher to lower. So from higher region to lower, from higher height to lower height, the water moves. Similarly, this air also moves. From where? From higher pressure region to low pressure region. That means this movement of air has a particular direction and will move from high pressure to low pressure region. Low pressure region. Low pressure region. That means from here to here. The air will move from high pressure region to low pressure region. Low pressure region. So now we can say that the movement of air, or be it a storm, be it a cyclone, the main reason why the wind flows, why the storm flows, this all reason is because of this pressure difference. There is a pressure difference, and due to this pressure difference, whatever you say, be it a storm, be it a cyclone, this air moves, and this air can take a different form. Because of the pressure difference, this air will take a different form. It can take a wind, it can take a storm, it can take even cyclone. Because of this pressure difference, air takes different form. Air takes different form. It can take in a wind, it can take a storm, it can take a cyclone. So it is all about the game of pressure difference. It is all about the game of a pressure difference. Now there is a one question that whenever the wind flows, the path where wind has taken, the air has taken to move from here to here region, to equalize the pressure, this path will follow. The path, that means this path it has followed. These paths will have reduced pressure, will have a reduced or a low pressure. Now the question is why? Now suppose, see, it is not like that, it is not এরকম নয় যে এখানে হাওয়া আছে, এখানে হাওয়া আছে, এখানে হাওয়া নেই, এটা হয় না, এখানেও হাওয়া আছে. So whenever this air will move, the air particle present over here will push this air also to move this direction. These air particles will move this air present over here, the air present over here, to push this air to move towards this low pressure region. And due to this, since the minimum air is present over here, and we know lesser the amount of pressure, lesser the amount of air, lesser will be the pressure. And due to this, the path where air is flowing, the path with which air is flowing, or air is taking to flow, this path will have a reduced pressure. Okay, let's summarize it. So what I have told, that the path where air moves, the air follow to move, air take to flow, that path will have a reduced pressure. That means, as I told you, suppose in this we have taken that these two regions having a different pressure, and due to the difference in pressure, the air will move until and unless both the pressure of both the region becomes equal. But there, see, whenever I'm moving from one place to another place, I have to follow one path. একটা রাস্তা আমাকে ঠিক করে নিতে হবে. আমি যদি কারোর বাড়ি যাই, আমি তো এইভাবে তো যেতে পারি না, উড়ে তো যেতে পারি না. আমাকে একটা সার্টেন রাস্তা ফলো করতে হবে, certain directions follow করতে হবে. So that direction is my path. Similarly, the air will take a certain direction, certain path, that it will flow from here to here. Now there is a question that the path that this air has taken to come from here to here, this whenever it will move, see, in this path will contain some air. It is not that ki ei duto jaygaয় hawa ache ar ei duto jaygaয় hawa nei, eta hoy na, ekhaneo hawa thakbe. So suppose there is also air present in this path, the path that air has taken. So whenever this air will move to equalize this pressure, this air will push these air particles. This air will push these air particles to move to this region, and as a result, a very less amount of air will be present over here. As a result, the very less amount of pressure will be present over here, and due to this, it will create a reduced pressure region over here. It will create a reduced pressure region over here, where it will create this area, the area where the wind or air has taken to flow, the area the air has taken to flow from this region to this region. Understood? So the path air will take to move from high pressure region to low pressure. This is high pressure, this is a low pressure region. The path will contain air, the path will also contain air. It's true, it's not like এখানে হাওয়া নেই, এরকম কোনো জায়গা আছে যেখানে হাওয়া বয় না? Of course সব জায়গায় হাওয়া রয়েছে, তো এখানেও থাকবে। Will contain air, will also contain air, and so what will happen? So high pressure region air will push the air present in path to move towards low pressure region, and as a result the path the air followed will have reduced pressure, so here it will create a reduced pressure over here. Understood? So you can see the difference in pressure of the two regions. So here you can summarize it, the pressure difference. Whenever there is a pressure difference, that means P1 and P2, these two regions, when the difference is not equal to 0, the air will move. When? Up to when? Until the two pressure becomes equal. And whenever this pressure difference is 0, then the air will not move. That's what is happening. Okay, let's do an activity to understand it. Hello. So as you are thinking that what I am doing, this is what activity is. You have seen that I have placed this, as you have written that I have placed that this paper ball inside the bottle, and I was blowing air inside. As we know that our young minds, we know that since I am blowing air, the paper should move inside. But whenever I am trying to blow inside, it is coming outside. This is very strange. It should move inside. The paper ball present over here should move inside, but instead it is coming out. That is very strange, right? Why it is happening? Okay, let's do another time. Let's do it again. Let's see. Can we move it inside? See, the ball is still present over here. Again. See? Okay, let's explain. So as you have seen that whenever I was blowing, suppose this is a bottle, and this was a paper, and I was blowing air, so whenever I was blowing air, this paper ball was either sticking inside or it was coming outside. It was generally coming outside. We know that whenever we blow something, it should move inside. It should move inside. So instead of moving inside, it was moving outside, and that is very strange. Why it is happening? So the reason is that whenever I was blowing air means it is something like a wind. It is something like it. So the air was moving inside, but what I told that whenever there is the movement where the path that air flows, the path that air has taken to flow, this path will have a reduced pressure. So air is moving inside, so that means this path will have a low pressure or reduced pressure region. Low pressure region. Why it is having a low pressure region? Because the air present over here is very less. Air present over here is very less. Is very less. And since it is very less, so pressure will be low. Pressure will be low. So as a result, so this is the one case. But why? Even if it is a low pressure, then why the ball is not moving inside? Another reason is that whenever I am blowing the air, these air particles are constantly moving towards this end, are constantly moving towards it. As a result, that maximum air particle is present over here. The maximum air particle is present over here. Maximum air particle is present over here. And as a result, since the maximum air is present, the pressure will be high. Pressure will be high. So you can somehow get an idea that here the region is high pressure region, that means P2, and here the region is low pressure region, that means P1. Now there is two difference in pressure. You can see that there is a two difference in pressure, that is P1 and P2, and P1 minus P2 is not equal to 0. Is not equal to 0. So as a result, what will happen? I am moving air particle inside, but since there is a difference in pressure, the air particle will move from this direction. Will move to this direction to equalize the pressure of these two regions, and as a result, as this air particle is moving outside, this will push the paper ball. This will push the paper ball outside, or at the same time it will remain at the same place. This is what actually happens over here. So what is actually happening? Let's summarize it. Okay, where it is. So as you can see that whenever we blow the air to move inside, the air particle pushes all the air present over this region towards inside, and as a result it will create a low pressure region. And since most of the air is present over here, it will create a high pressure region, and you can see there is a difference in pressure. P1 and P2, and due to this difference in pressure, the air will move, and where it will move? From high. So air will present in high pressure region will move towards outside, and as a result, the air from inside will pushes the ball out. This is the reason why ball was coming out. Let's take another activity. Let's go through your NCERT book. There is another activity. So let's take an activity. Come to NCERT page number 82 and activity 8.3. Now let's see what it is saying. Take two balloons of little water into the balloon and blow up the two balloons, blow up both the balloons, tie each other to a string, hang the balloon 8 to 10 centimeter apart on a cycle and spoke or a cycle or spoke or a stick, and blow air in the space between them. What do you expect? What you will see? Rather, we generally think that whenever we blow air, it will move. The balloon will generally move away. That's what we can visualize. That we always think. But here also it is interesting that the balloons that you have, whenever you blow air in between them, you will see these balloons, instead of moving apart, these balloons are moving inside. And why? Another question is it that the balloon, whenever you blow air in between them, the balloons will move towards each other. And the question is why? Again, the question is why? Now see, whenever you are blowing air between them, what will happen? The air particle present over here will move towards forward, and as a result, the region over here, since the less amount of air is present, so we can expect that the pressure will be low. Now, since the pressure will be low, suppose the pressure is P1 over here. Now the pressure, since you are blowing air, it will move the air towards forward direction, and as a result, the less amount of air will present over here, and since less amount of pressure, it will have a low pressure. The pressure will be very low, that is P1. Now, what will happen if the pressure is low? But the question is why the ball is moving towards each other. The reason is, see, but pressure over here is low, but the pressure here, the air particle is present everywhere. It is present here. Maximum air is present over here. So as a result, here the pressure is P2. Maximum amount of pressure is reason. So these two region will have a high pressure region. Is a high pressure region. Why high pressure region? Because air is maximum present over here. And since there is a difference in pressure, that is P1 and P2 is not equal to 0, as a result, the air present over here will push the air particle, will move towards the low pressure region. The air present at the high pressure region will move to low pressure region, and as a result, whenever this air will start to move to equalize this pressure, what will happen? That these air particles will try to move this balloon with itself. Will move this balloon. So the air will move these balloons towards each other, and this is the reason why the balloons, instead of moving away, it is moving inside. The reason is because of the difference in pressure. And how the difference in pressure was created? Because by blowing air, the difference of pressure is created. Why it is creating a air? Because of the blowing air. Whenever you are blowing air, the air present around your mouth, suppose this is your mouth, you are blowing air, the air present over, you can't see air, but air is present, so it will push the air towards forward. When you are blowing, it will push forward. As a result, the low pressure region will create around itself, will create it over here. Since the lesser the amount, since all the air particle is moving forward, the lesser amount of air will be present over near my mouth, near this, and as a result, it will be less pressure will be created. And since the less pressure is created, so the air particles present outside will try to equalize the pressure, P1 and P2, that means to equalize this pressure. So as a result, what will happen? The air particle will move towards this direction, to equalize the pressure. And while moving, it will also move the balloon. While moving air, the balloons also move. And this is the reason why balloons are actually moving towards each other. Now comes to the next activity, that is 8.4. It is NCERT. Let's see what it is saying. Okay, now comes to the activity 8.4. Let's see what it is saying. Hold a strip of paper 20 cm long and 3 cm wide between the two thumb and four finger. Now blow the paper. Paheli thinks the strip will lift up. Paheli and Buzo think the strip will bend down. What do you think? What will happen? Okay. Whatever who thinks, let's perform us. Okay. And this is a paper strip. It is not the centimeter wise. It's not the actual measurement that is mentioned, but it is just for the experiment. Okay, let's see what happens. Strange, right? So I think that Paheli thought that a strip will go up, lifted up, and it is true. The strip that I was blowing, it lifted up. Now the question is why? Why it has lifted up? The question is same thing. The reduced pressure, pressure difference. Whatever you are doing, whenever it is happening, so reduced pressure. And the question is how the reduced pressure. So this is a paper strip. See, this is a paper strip, and this is a paper strip that I have taken. Now whenever I was blowing air, what is happening? The air particle, whenever I am blowing air, the air present over here was moving this side, and since it is moving this side, that is not the reason that it is blowing air. It is lifted up because of the blowing air. It is lifted because that whenever I was blowing air, the air particle was moving towards this side. And as a result, what will happen? That in here the air is minimum, and the pressure is high, pressure is low. Since the air is minimum, pressure is low. So this is low pressure region. But another question is that the air particle is present over here. Only this region is having a low pressure region. But below this, the air particles are also present, and these maximum air is present. So since maximum air is present, the pressure is high. So here the pressure is high pressure region. What is high pressure region? So in this case, so this is P1 and P2, and due to this difference in pressure, since P1 is less than P2 and P2 minus P1 is not equal to 0, and this is the reason what will happen? Difference in pressure, both there is a difference. So what will happen? It will equalize. It will try to equalize both the pressure. So what will happen? This air particle will move towards this. Direction. And whenever it will move towards this direction, the air strip will move, as air will strip will move this paper up, and as a result this paper strip moves, is lifted up, is lifted up. So as you can see, why the paper strip was lifting up, the reason is because of the difference in pressure, P, difference in pressure near the mouth, when I was blowing the paper near the mouth. So near the mouth, you can see this near the mouth, the paper near the mouth, the pressure was pressure was very low. This area was having a low pressure region, but this is not the only reason why the paper was moving up. So whenever there is a below the paper strip, whenever there is a low pressure region, so air below it, the air present over here will move upside. So whenever this air will move outside, this will move this paper strip also, and this is the reason why the paper strip was moving upwards, because this was moving because to equalize the pressure over this region and this region. While equalizing, the air was moving up, and as the air was moving up, the paper strip was lifting up. Understood? So we can in whole this activity, we can summarize and we can say that due to the difference in pressure, so better to say that, okay, I'm erasing it, okay. So in this case, we can say that difference in pressure move in two regions. In two regions, air starts moving or air starts flowing from high pressure to low pressure, and high speed wind accompanied or lead to low pressure region. Yes, whenever I was blowing air, that what happened? This air, I'm pushing the air to move forward. As a result, all the air will try to move towards itself, and as a result, when all the air particles will move towards forward direction, the minimum air will present over here, and it will create a low pressure region. So blowing a wind will create a low pressure region, and as a result, air will constantly move. Understood? So till now it is up to this. In next class we will discuss about the wind currents generated due to the uneven heating. How wind currents are generated on Earth.